There we are.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Unmuted with Hedreich and Alice. Couple of educators who just want to help you get through your day, get through your week a little better. We know that it is but early, and we're happy with that. So if you
We
haven't
are.
had coffee, it's okay. Just mellow it out. Oh, coffee. Show the coffee again. We should show the coffee
Yeah.
again.
Yes, I have coffee. I can't tip it. It's going to just dump all over my computer here.
No dumping coffee. So the reason we want to do this is because we really want to put back into the educational community. There are people who are really struggling. This is the last leg, and we want to give you some extra punch to get you through the last leg of the school
We are
year.
definitely punchy. It's like punch comedy.
That's us. Alice, who are you
Well,
anyway? Why are we doing this? Who are you?
I'm a teacher, right? So I've been teaching math since 1999, and I love using technology to push education further, that we can do more with it. My real passion is around student-centered classrooms. So that's what I'm here for, is to talk with you about student-centered classrooms and how we can really elevate education and take some stress off of teachers. How about
Students
you?
students in the classrooms. I think that's where we kind of met up. Honestly, when the pandemic was in its at its height, there were quite a few teachers who kind of congregated on social media. And when I think of what we're all really passionate about, it all of it connects to student-centered education. And a lot of times we don't find that with all of the different things that we have to do, all of our state testing. Right now it's
Right.
testing season. We do a lot of things that don't have to do with kids leading their own learning and embracing their love for learning. So we're here to give you some tips and stuff for that. So where'd you get started? Tell me. Okay, Alice, now I know I've known you for a while. So let's get started with the just geographical stuff. That's always interesting.
Yeah.
Where the heck did the California, Alaska, Texas connection come in? Tell me about that.
Well, I know the first time we met in person was in Texas,
Right.
but yes, but I actually have never lived in Texas. My parents live in Texas. You live in Texas.
You do.
But I started teaching in California. So like I said, 1999, I started teaching math. But actually, if you ask me, I grew up in Alaska. I delivered newspapers by dog sleds when I played Two Truths and a Lie. That's something that I like to throw in there because no one thinks that's true. I also took 3 days off when I had a baby. So that's my other one for Two Truths and a Lie. Not sure what my good lie is. But
3 days?
yeah, yeah. If for those of you who know me or don't know me, I have 5 kids. And as you know, it is easier to go to work than have a sub.
This is true.
Now, to be fair, my husband was a stay-at-home dad. So there was that. But I teach math, right? So there wasn't somebody to cover my classes and to take time off. I mean, I still feel accountable for state test scores and all of those things. And not like I can make that excuse. And I just love to teach. So there's that. Now, when I moved to Alaska, I was born in California, lived in Oregon for a couple of years, went to kindergarten in Oregon. I moved to Alaska in first grade. And I remember they had a card catalog, but that was just like the first year because it's Alaska and we have like oil money or something. We had computers and we had a computer lab with the Oregon Trail. I mean, that's my first exposure to ed time. Was first of all, we had computers in the library when I was in second grade, and we had a computer lab, and we would go down each week, not to like practice typing, but to do game-based learning. So I feel like that really has influenced a lot of the educator that I am. And then over COVID, I accidentally moved to Kansas. So enjoying the all the seasons every day.
Wait, where are you? Are you in? Where are you? Wichita,
Yes.
Kansas, it's Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri.
Yeah.
There's a lot of confusion, even for us good old Americans who learned all of the 50 nifty United States.
Yeah.
So Kansas is in two places, right?
There's a Paris, Texas. Does that mean Paris is in two places?
Okay, yeah.
Um, yeah. No, I'm in the center of the state, and then I initially had moved to the southwest corner, almost in Colorado, which is how we met up in Texas, right? Because it was a 2.5 hour drive for me to go to Amarillo, where we did not have a giant steak.
That's right. That's right. A really great blog article come out. We need to repost that. We haven't posted that in a while.
That's a
That
great idea.
Yeah.
All right, we have a comment here from Alfonso. He also loved Oregon Trail. Floppy disks for the win.
Floppy disks. I'm sorry. I don't think I know what a floppy disk is. Hello, Alfonso. Good to see you, by the way, darling. What's a floppy disk? That's something I think I may have read about in a history book.
Yeah, well, still the icon to save things. And darned if my kids know what that is. But I remember I used to have like plastic cartridges. I would go to the Fresno State. I went to Fresno State. I go to the Fresno State Library and I buy these plastic cases. They'd hinge open and you could put 2 floppy disks in there. And what you could say like 40 Word documents. This is pre-Google Docs to those disks, but I was carrying around floppy disks.
Okay, see, I was a child. Let's go with that. I'm going with I was a child, so I don't remember.
The other thing that I would buy in abundance at the Fresno State bookstore was #1 pencils. I love #1 pencils. They're softer. And I sharpen them up. I have a whole row of them. And because I'm doing math, right? So doing in pencil. I always like to have a sharp pencil and I like them to be soft. So these #1s would wear down faster. So if you saw me at Fresno State, a row of pencils.
Well, you know what? That is better than coffee. Thank you, Alfonso. I appreciate it because I did not have coffee yet. So I must say,
Can you start your day like that?
You know what? It was just an early morning. It's Monday. This
one's #3 for me.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, I think my first text from you came in at 5 something this morning. So yeah,
Well, daylight savings threw you for a loop. So I had to make sure we were on the same time zone.
I still listen. I kid you not. Today, it's correct. I still think it was your computer. I swear. I don't.
Not my computer. So for those of you listening, we had a planning meeting on Thursday, and I'm in here, no Hedreich. And then an hour later, she's like, "Where are you?"
No, Alice.
Taking screenshots of our Google Calendar, and the red line clearly showed she was an hour late.
But the weird thing, the red line said I was an hour late, but the actual invitation that came from Alice, that said that it was not supposed to be until 8:30. So it was just this really, the thing about it is, as a technology teacher for the last few years, that the more you count on it and assume it's going to be fail-free.
It's never going to be fail-free.
Yeah.
My backup plan, because technology is not going to work. My backup plan is circle the wagons, everyone get in a circle, and we have classroom discussion. Have kids talking. Getting kids talking is what I'm all about.
Let's go with that because I was just talked to teacher friends at my home campus. I am a newly retired teacher working in educational nonprofit right now, but we'll get to that another time. At any rate, they lost internet and they lost power, and there was a fire when the power came back on, so they ended up shutting the school down.
I was going to say snow day.
Right? So the problem was, especially when they were out of internet, a friend of mine who's an interventionist was going kind of from class to class, I'm assuming, and people were just really, but what am I supposed to do? So what is your plan? You're at a school, you're in the middle of a lesson, you've got, the stuff is up, the kids are working on some kind of application, y'all are having fun, and all of a sudden things go down. Give me your top.
Happens a lot. Well, first, we're going to just give a quick shout out to Julie. Julie, time zones are my nemesis. I demand that people send me a calendar invite. I'm not going to make it because I'm going to mess it up. You tell me we're meeting at a certain time and we're not in the same time zone, you're sending me a calendar invite. Just say. Okay, so what is my go-to when I have all these plans? And, well, I mean, really what we want to be teaching, especially in an age of AI, is critical thinking. And being a math teacher, we like to say that we're teaching kids critical thinking. In fact, my department, that was our stated policy, is that if a kid says, "When are we ever going to use this?" we would respond with, "Well, we're teaching you critical thinking." But the truth is we were not. We had packets of DOK level 1 math problems that when you're doing the same problem over and over again, you're not thinking. So in Joe Buller's book, Mathematical Mindset, so we can just like start a coffee drinking game here of every time I mention Joe Buller, because I'm a big fan. It's, after you do the third problem, that's the same. You're not thinking anymore. Now you're just kind of like going through the algorithm. So giving kids things that look different are non-examples. It's how do we get kids thinking about whatever it is that we're teaching? So again, my fallback is always have a really good essential question that we can debate and talk about. Like, is a trapezoid a rectangle? Or is a rectangle a trapezoid? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's interesting. I used to do when I taught
coffee.
When I taught in Switzerland, it was protocol to shake every student's hand coming into the room. And at first I thought, oh my God, what a waste of time. But it turned out that, many students go through the school day and never hear their names.
Yeah.
And so having that just a quick touch point, I brought that back with me. And one of the things I would do is post a this or that question. And it had nothing to know. It was not connected to state testing. It was not connected to something in my lesson. It was literally just a way to connect with students. And it set the tone for the rest of the class. I would ask, like you said, what was the last thing you said?
I don't know. I have ADHD.
So no, you said two things. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Those kind of questions. I would ask sausage or bacon, or pancakes or waffles, or McDonald's or In-N-Out. And literally just that moment would already spark kids thinking, justifying, because hey, all right, I would keep track.
Oh, yes.
Okay, guys. So looks like most of our class is all about the cereal first, then the milk. That was a big one because there were a few people who actually put the milk
Wait. People put the milk first?
Yes.
Float and going all over the place. It feels like a disaster waiting to happen.
I am talking a solid, probably 5% of all of the classes would put in milk first. And so that ended up being a really interesting discussion, because since so many people do not put milk first, like you said, what? Who puts milk in first?
I would make a mess. I would.
But there were some really excellent points, and some people conceded, oh, wow, I've got to try that. So just having those, that was attendance. It wasn't, you know what I mean? It did not take a big chunk of time, but it allowed me to say hello to each student and aha, or and just that sparking a little bit of connection and sparking a reason for debate. Snickers or Twix?
Yeah. Okay, Snickers or Twix?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay, my class rule was you have to choose one, because I would choose neither, because I really only eat Swiss chocolate. So, really, from a little place in the mountains that now has one here in Texas in Fresno. Shout out Lidach. Anyway, I do I really have to choose?
Yes, you brought it up.
Okay, fine. Snickers.
Okay, I'm going to give you a clue though. If you do give math problems about brownies, you better bring brownies. So if you are asking kids Snickers or Twix, are you giving them a Snickers or a Twix?
Nope.
You're the worst.
I'm just saying. Hey, I taught in Title I. We didn't have Title I budget, okay? Twix. I did get Skittles budget one year when I taught science. And we did something with Skittles. So,
Well, Julie says she is Team Snickers. You guys are on the same team. I'm definitely Team Twix, although, having some nuts can really perk you up. I have some Kind bars that I keep stashed in my bag because I do have ADHD. I forget to eat. And then I'm like, it's 6th hour out of 7. I'm like, why am I hungry? Oh, I just forgot that it was lunchtime and I didn't eat.
Yep. Somebody used to tell me why are you hungry? Because coffee is not a meal. Like, but
false.
Thank you.
False.
Is coffee a meal? Absolutely. Especially because a 20-ounce latte is definitely a meal. You know how much milk is in that?
Right. I was staying at my friend's house in Boston one time, and she's Persian, so she's not going to take no for an answer. So she's like, you know, Alice, what do you have for breakfast? I'm like, well, I just have coffee in the morning, and she was not accepting that, and so she kept like, you know, what do you want? And I'm like, you know what, some toast would be fine, you know, like, well, apparently she's from Iran. They don't do toast, or at least in her family, they don't do toast. So she had to go out and buy all of this bread and butter and things just for me because she thought my whole life dream was to have toast, but really my whole life dream is just to have coffee.
Yeah. I was talking, we were at a staff retreat recently, and I was talking about all of the ways I have, like, not only can I back up my classroom if we don't have technology, I would know what to do. If anything were to happen, I have pour over, I have 2 French presses, I have an espresso and a backup Nespresso, and I have a fresh grinder. And it's like, there's definitely not going to not be coffee. And I'm looking
There's
at
going to be coffee.
a little camping one because I really like espresso when I travel. Yeah, they're like these camping ones, and they're just like
the AeroPress.
Yeah, like that. Like there's
And Shelton turned me on to that. It is significantly better than AeroPress, and they have a travel size, so maybe that's what you need.
Was looking at it. Yeah, I was looking at that, and so I'm probably going to buy that because coffee is a little iffy. And I also have like coffee bags, like tea bags. I found some really good ones at our local store, and I can go with that as well. And so yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's give some shout outs here to people who are making some comments in the side. We got our friend George. Hey. Like to have you. Would love to have you as a guest. So we're going to be hitting up all of our friends here. And Victoria.
Hey, oh my gosh, you're up. Well, because you're up, it's an hour later.
Hedreich, notice I do this all of the time. I made a video for Instagram, and on my video, you know, I did this, and Hedreich's like, that's not you. You don't do that. I'm like, I do that. And now is your opportunity to see that I do.
Okay, Alice is heart hands. Got it. Okay, I'm Jen A. Okay, there's Jen A. There's my Jen A. My little Jen A heart.
What is that? That's a Jen A heart.
Jen A heart. Yeah. If you make if you snap,
tiny violin,
little heart.
Okay.
Jen Alpha. Skibbity. Hey. All right, we're going to be at time we're going to be at time in a minute. So if you run out of, let's say your tech goes down, find a way to have conversations connected, of course, to your curriculum. Is a trapezoid a rectangle? Is a rectangle a trapezoid? Or she maths, I English, whatever. But find a way to have a conversation. Use that time for connection, and then connect whatever you're learning to something real world. And conversation, Socratic seminar, those kinds of things are wonderful ways to really promote critical thinking. And believe it or not, you can even do them outside.
Of course. Well, wonderful. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to do this next Monday. We'll hope you stop in. And if you are not with us live, obviously we have the recording. So until next time.
Bye, all.
I'm going to get this video thing going.